Welcome to the 404 Effect, the podcast that puts Atlanta's most influential voices in the spotlight. I'm your host, Demetrius Thomas, entrepreneur, lifelong ATL resident, and someone who has had the privilege of building businesses in the music, film, and fashion spaces right here in the city that never stops evolving. In every episode, we sit down with the game changers, the innovators, and the trailblazers who are shaping the future of the A, from business, education, and finance to sports entertainment, food, fashion, medicine, and technology. If they are making an impact, we are bringing you their story. So whether you have aspirations of being an entrepreneur, a creative visionary, or just someone who loves the energy and networking of Atlanta, you are in the right place. You've landed on the right podcast, so make sure you like, follow, subscribe, and share to the 404 Effect. Effect with an A, available wherever you get your podcasts. Now, let's get into it. Today's guest is Lindsey Thomas. She's an educator in the Gwinnett County Public School System, holding her master's degree in the field of special education and currently works with special needs students. She's a community activist, a visionary, and an inspiring lawyer, a true powerhouse in the education field. As a proud member of the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, she's a sorority sister and my fleshly sister. So let's get ready for an inside look at her journey, the impact she's having on her industry, and what's next for her and for Atlanta. And we're back. Joining us here today, we have Lindsey Thomas, professional special education extraordinaire. I'm fronting like we went to a commercial break, but we really didn't. I just wanted
to... We took our own commercial break.
How about that? So jumping back into this, now we just got through talking about invisible disabilities and how we identify those, how you address those within the classroom. These students obviously will need a tremendous amount of support once these things are identified, once these disabilities are identified. What does support look like? Not just, you spoke about what it looks like in the classroom setting, in the school, but it goes beyond that. Parents, extended family, friend groups, the bus drivers. Shout out to the bus drivers. You hear that, Mom? We're shouting you out. All of these people play a role in the development of this child. So talk about what the support needs to look like from these individuals.
Yeah, I mean, support. So I always say education starts at home. As a parent, you're your child's first teacher. And so, as a parent, I would say just work with your school, work with your teachers. We hang out with your kids all day. So if a teacher is coming to you, please take it seriously. And consider it. You don't have to take it for face value. It's okay to be skeptical. I'm a skepticist. I want to know why for everything. But at least consider it. I encounter a lot of parents sometimes who are like, oh, well, you're picking on my kid. I promise you, we don't have time. No teacher anywhere has time to pick on your child. I promise. So if I'm coming to you, just at least hear me out and pay attention. Read with your kids at home. Write with them. Anything. Spend time with them, because just knowing your child as a person is really like the first step to anything. Because if you know your kid as a person, you're going to automatically recognize when they're acting a little different, or when they are responding negatively or positively to something. And then you're going to know what they can and can't do. Take your kids outside, socialize with other kids, because sometimes I have parents, this their first child, and they didn't know. They're like, oh, other kids don't do this? No. So go outside. And just understand that if your child is learning differently or behaves differently, or it's just anything that you think is different, it's okay. Nothing is wrong. It's okay. They just need a little extra support, and let the people who are there to do that do those things, because it's going to make life easier for you as a parent. I've done plenty of, I'll make you a schedule for at the house that looks like when they come home from school, they do this and then they do this, visual schedules. Some kids need that so they remember or, can function better in their homes. There's a lot of interventions that I've given to parents where I'm like, this is what your child needs to just be okay in life, especially with my autism kids. Because, you're not just autistic at school. You're autistic everywhere.
Right.
So I'm like, what I'm doing here that's successful, it's going to be successful at the house too. You just have to figure out how to do it within the realm of your home. And just be open to trying different things. Be open to the fact that your kid might just do things a little bit differently than your niece or nephew over there, but nothing is necessarily wrong, just different. And then as far as like family support, be understanding, ask questions, but don't be judgmental. Special needs parents, especially for someone who their child has a more significant need, it's a lot to take in, it's a lot to handle, it's a lot to consider. And so just being supportive and understanding is doing things the way they say do it. If a parent knows, like, my child cannot eat candy because it makes them crazy, don't give them candy on the side. Oh, I'm the fun auntie, here goes some candy. Like, no. If they said no, don't do it, because it's probably for a reason. You know what I mean? And so just be supportive and understanding and Google it. Because there's so much information out there, educate yourself, I guess. Okay. That's what I would say.
Small pause for the cause. All right, we're back for Effect inaugural initial podcast. But first, I need to shout out our sponsors who are always supportive in our endeavors. Ari Lee Aesthetics. They've got my skin nice and tight. How about you, Lindsey?
Nice and tight.
There it is. Ari Lee Aesthetics. Hit the link, like, share, and follow, as well as for our educators, people who have small children, people who engage small children. The Orange Barrels storybook and coloring book series. Be sure to follow them as well. Link right here. All right, getting back into our subject matter for today. Lindsey Thomas, special education extraordinaire, my blood sister. This is Fam Bam. We making mama proud, hopefully.
Okay.
If not, she'll come through the door with a belt, because that's
a red one.
A red one. You remember that little thin red belt?
Do I? I tried to hide it one time. It was it didn't go well.
Oh my goodness. I tried to hide the belt. You know what? I'm not even going to put her out there like that.
That's another episode.
That's a whole nother episode. Speaking of which, Lindsey will be rejoining us later in the future to cover any additional educational needs, questions that you may have. Feel free to send them to us. But right now we're talking about identifying the needs of a special needs child, someone who needs extra accommodations at school and at home. Now, Lindsey, we talked about extreme cases that you've seen in your career. What are some of the success cases that you can speak to?
So many. I've graduated kids from special ed, which means at some point they received services via an IEP, and then they were able to overcome whatever their difficulty or challenge was to the point that they no longer needed to receive formalized services in that way, several times. And that's for behavior students and students who have learning disabilities, able to just teach them coping skills and teach them ways of leveling the playing field for themselves that didn't require someone else to come in and do it for them or with them. But so many. I've worked with teachers at other schools to support students and watch them grow. Having been a kindergarten teacher, I've watched kids go from 4 and 5 years old to, I think my first set of kindergartners are now in 5th grade, and some of them don't require services anymore. So, intervention with fidelity works. That's what I tell teachers. When you do the interventions and you do them correctly and consistently, it works. It helps kids be better and become better and rise and meet their potential. And it's the same with parents. Like, when you do the things that you need for your kids, they can be anything you want them to be. Or they can be anything that they want to be. because they're individuals. So, it really does work. Early intervention, that's always going to be my platform. Early intervention with fidelity works.
That's the formula. I started out the episode speaking to personal experiences with our child, our son, and you fast forward, he's out of school now. As he went through high school, we found that the accommodations that they recommended, he wasn't really needing anymore. So we saw a measure of success. He's doing quite well now. So it can work, ladies and gentlemen. Like Lindsey said, we just got to stay on top of it and be meaningful with it.
Yeah.
So trust the process.
Trust the process. Right? Do the things. Do all of the things. Trust the process. It works.
And stand on business. I guess that's what they say now. Stand on business. All right. So I guess the question that you get a lot, and for our listeners and viewers, how did you? What brought you to teaching? What brought you to special needs teaching? Because I remember you went to school for fashion
merchandising, yeah.
And then from fashion merchandising, you started your next career set in
project management.
And then you were there, on the tech side, right?
Yes, wireless telecom industry, yes. So teaching is my third career. I like to tell people that because they don't think I'm as old as I am. Because I don't look it.
Well,
because of my esthetician.
Hourly aesthetics.
But there were so many different things that happened that I didn't know were happening that led me to education. One of those things being that I worked with a little girl. I have a close friend whose daughter is on the autism spectrum, and pretty significantly. And I met her. And we became BFFs right in that moment. I met her when she was 5. And I started babysitting for her. I would take her to school, things like that. And that was really my first experience with a child who had a significant special need. And now she is in the 11th grade, I believe, doing great. She still has her needs, but she's grown and, she's a big girl now. But she was really my first introduction to students with that type of special need. But I've had family members that have had needs that I've been around and supported. I wasn't going to say nothing, but...
I own it now. Neurodivergent.
That's
another episode, y'all. I was 6 months ago, years old.
And I didn't know it at the time, but I've just kind of always been in spaces where I was helping people and teaching people things. Even in the jobs that I've had, I got hired to do one job, but I always ended up being the trainer for this or the lead for that, just because I liked teaching people how to do things. I like making complicated things simple, and that's what kind of drew me to maybe I should be a teacher. And then I had a lot of friends who were teachers, and I watched what they were doing. I'm like, I could do that too. That sounds like everything I need to be doing. And so, I left my corner cubicle in Buckhead and decided to just jump in to teaching. And I knew that I wanted to do special needs because I just felt like I needed to work with a demographic that their voices needed to be amplified, because I'm real loud. And not necessarily in volume, just in passion and advocacy. And so I just knew I needed to work with a group of people that weren't always heard, which is what brought me to Title I, because a lot of times those are people and families and kids that don't get the benefit of the doubt sometimes. They're pushed into a realm of being less fortunate or underserved, but why? Why should they be? And I knew that I needed to be in that kind of space. So that's pretty much what led me to being a teacher in the place that I do it at.
And so with that being said, is that the same reason for your next endeavor? A fourth career change on the horizon? A fourth
career change. Here I go.
So tell us about that. What can the listening and viewing audience expect next based on your expertise?
Yes. So my next big leap into the world.
That's your camera right there.
My next big leap into the world. I am going to law school. I'm going to be a lawyer. I'm going to be an education disability rights lawyer because this is a demographic that I love. These are the people that I love. And these are the people that I feel that I can bring their voice to light. As far as education is concerned, students, especially special needs students, especially Black and brown students who are in these schools that don't always get to have the resources. I work in a very wealthy county. Our fact checker told me that it was the 15th largest county in the United States.
According to the World Atlas Reference, U.S. World Atlas Reference, Gwinnett County is the 15th largest school system in the United States. Thank you, fact checker.
So, it's a pretty big county. There are a lot of resources, but what about those counties in South Georgia that don't have it? There are still kids there who have needs. There are still families there who have needs that aren't being met because their schools can't do it or whatever the reasons may be.
Resources and funding may not be there.
Exactly. Yeah. Whatever the reasons may be. So I'm looking to represent those people and making sure that their children are getting their needs met because it's federal law that their needs are met. So we have to make sure it's done by any means necessary. And then, it extends beyond that, beyond school as well. People with disabilities are out here in the world not being listened to, being discriminated against for various reasons. So those are the people that I want to represent. And then the teachers, because teaching is a very difficult and emotionally draining space to be in. And sometimes our needs are not met because of the demands of specific schools or counties or whatever it may be. So I just want to represent all of those people who their voices need to be heard and their needs need to be met by any means necessary, even if it means suing the school system.
Shout out to you for that. Fine young woman. Y'all know the rest. All right, so that's Lindsey Thomas. That's what she does, why she does it, and how she came to do it. So to round out our episode, I like to do a rapid fire session. You don't know these questions.
I don't.
Answer first thing come to your mind.
Okay.
All right. And this is for you all to get to know her a little better. I know her. That's my sister. Yeah. I'll just digress on that part. But anyway, so if you could have dinner with anyone, fictitious character or, real life, past or present, who would it be and why?
If I could have dinner with anyone, who would it be and why?
Real or fictitious?
Okay. I would have dinner with our brother, our late brother.
Our brother that passed away. Okay. Wow.
Why not? Because why not? We haven't had dinner in a long time.
We haven't had dinner in quite some time, since 2002. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I would love for him to see where our families are and how we've gotten through the years. Mm-hmm. I'm here for that. What's the weirdest or most unexpected item you carry with you every day?
Weirdest, most unexpected item I carry, like on purpose?
Yeah.
Because not on purpose, I very randomly will always have an Expo marker, a Sharpie, or Skittles in every purse pocket.
Okay.
Because I'm a teacher.
I was going to say, because you're an educator. All right.
I always have those things everywhere.
All right. So, in reference to the scene behind us here, and we grew up in a very heavily musically influenced family. Mm-hmm. If your life had a theme song and it could change, what would it be?
My theme song. The first thing that I can think of, because this person has been trying to be my best friend for years, T.I., he's everywhere I am all the time, and he's trying to be my friend. Bring Him Out would be my theme song because...
it's hard to yell when barrels are in your mouth. Hey.
That's my theme song because I feel like I'm always like doing a thing. Mm-hmm. I'm always like finding a way to elevate, and it's just like, well, what is she doing now? bring it out. Here I am.
So that kind of leads into my final question. Because this is the 404 effect, it's all things Atlanta and the greatness that comes out of it. Like my sister, born at what hospital?
Northside.
You better say it again.
Northside.
There it is. Some of y'all might have a problem with that, but you'll be all right. What's your favorite Atlanta artist?
T.I.
Bring him out.
That's my guy. Even though he's stalking me, that's my guy. Yeah. Not in real life, just playing.
I'm just saying. All right.
And Jeezy.
Oh, Snowman.
Okay.
Snowman. There you have it, y'all. Lindsey Thomas, educator extraordinaire, my favorite sister. I've got a lot of them, but
I'm the best one.
Top tier right there. Number one supporter. We appreciate you listening to us today, logging into our podcast, the first one. Many more to come. She will be a reoccurring guest. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or inquiries that you would like Miss Thomas, that's what they call you in the classroom, Miss Thomas, to address, email us at the404effect@gmail.com, effect with an A, for obvious reasons. Other than that, we appreciate you tuning in and listening to us. Be sure to like, listen, follow, subscribe, and share to wherever you get your podcasts. And on that note, that's it, shawty. We ain't got nothing else.
Peace up. Face out.
That's a wrap on this episode of the 404 Effect. Big thanks to our guests for sharing their insight and stories, showing us once again why Atlanta isn't just a city. It's a movement that we are all a part of. I know we took a deep dive and covered a lot, and if today's conversation sparked something in you, keep that energy going and build off of it. Share it, talk about it, and most importantly, take action, because the people shaping this city aren't just watching from the sidelines. They're in the game and making major moves doing it. And dig this, we're just getting started. Stay locked in for the next episode where we bring you more of Atlanta's sharpest minds and boldest voices. Until then, keep pushing, keep building, keep embodying the 404 Effect. See y'all next time.